Welcome back to the Ready Room. I'm your host, Brittany McLean Campbell. And this week we have some unfortunate but breaking news. And I wanted to make sure I started off the episode with our hot topics segment. Unfortunately, Penny Oleksiak has withdrawn from the World Championships coming up very shortly in Singapore. And that was due to an infraction in her whereabouts put in place by the World Anti-Doping Agency. Now, if you're wondering, what is whereabouts? That's a great question. I have a reel on Instagram that tells you a lot more that you need to know, but it's a system put in place to keep sport clean. It's for drug testing, and it basically provides a window where every athlete has to tell you an hour of their day where they're going to be available to be tested for drug testing. Now, I wanted to make sure I answered some of the questions we've had since that video because I think it's important to bring some clarity. One of them was, can you update the system? And yes, in fact, you can update the system. There's an app. We're in 2025 now, so you can, in fact, have it on your phone. If you do need to update it, though, you have to do it in advance of your window. So, for example, if I had it between 5 and 6 p.m., and it was 5:20 and I went to update it and unfortunately would not take that update. So you do have to do it in advance of time, but you are able to on the go if things come up, if you change your residence for a night, if you book an appointment somewhere, if you take a flight somewhere, whatever it is, you can update the app in real time. You just have to submit it quarterly so you have a submission to do. The athletes are very used to the system. If they've been on the national team for longer than, a few months, this is something that they're kind of getting used to as upkeep. So it's a part of the full-time job that is being a high-level athlete. The other question we had is, why did Penny withdraw from the World Championships? And I think it is important to know that her case is still in the preliminary stages. So what it means by that is the ban has not been placed on Penny Oleksiak yet. The only reason we know about it is because she withdrew from Worlds. And the reason she withdrew is if she was going to compete at the World Championships and then the ban is placed anywhere between now and then, and even just after, then her results have the potential to be not official. So if she was swimming on a relay, then unfortunately none of those results would actually be official. There's potential for them to take away medals from Team Canada, and she has decided that she wants to do what's best for the overall team and take her name off that roster. Now the next question is, well, how is this going to impact the Canadian relays? It's going to impact them quite heavily. And unfortunately, for all of us as fans of Canadian swimming, Penny would have likely been on 4, maybe even 5 relays. She was likely on some of the mixed relays and then the freestyle and the medley relay on the 4x100 side. So this is going to heavily impact them. She won the 100 free, which makes her not only a key shoe-in for the relay, but it makes her the favorite and likely the anchor when it comes to the medley relay. So unfortunate situation for there. I don't think as a realistic person, I would go in and say they had a likely shot of medaling across many relays, but it definitely does impact their chances of getting on the podium. So unfortunate situation currently facing. This is a very serious matter for athletes to make sure they're staying on top of. I definitely think it is a challenge because you have to stay, like I said, it's an all around the clock responsibility for these athletes. Mistakes do happen, but over a decade that Penny Oleksiak has had to do this system. So definitely tough to see. It's a 3-strike program, and we're under the impression now that she has received her 3rd strike. More to come. We're going to be continuously tracking this story. So stay tuned to all of our CBC channels. I will try to keep you updated as best as possible. But with that, we're going to get right into our interview for this week. There will be 2 female breaststrokers representing Canada this summer, and I'm thrilled that they're both able to join me today. I've loved watching this budding rivalry take place over the last couple of years. To start it out, we have Alexanne Lepage. She is a multi-time U Sport champion. She's a 2-time junior world champ, and she'll be competing in the 50 and the 100 breast. And then we have Sophie Angus, who got to swim on the Paris 2024 Olympic team. She's a bronze medalist from Worlds in 2023 that came in the medley relay, and she'll be competing in the 200 breaststroke. So without further ado, please welcome Alexanne Lepage and Sophie Angus. Breaststroke gals, it's so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Soph, I'll start with you. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm really excited to be here, get to chat with you guys. I'm in Toronto and just packing up and getting ready to go.
And Alexanne, I was just asking you if you prefer Alexanne or Alex, because it's also good research for me on the color commentary side. And you basically said you have a 50-50 split. So I'm going to try to 50-50 split throughout this interview. Alex, how was your day so far? And where are you joining us from?
It's good. I'm just in Calgary, same as Sophie, slowly packing up, getting ready to go.
Yeah, and for our viewers back at home, you guys are literally within days of packing up your life for a staging camp, world champs, going across the world, a long flight, all the good things. Before we get into Singapore and dive deeper into that, I do want to take this moment to get to know you a bit better because I never got to swim with either of you. So I say I'm starting with like a blank slate. I did some research on you, but there's definitely things I'm really excited to learn. One, I want to start with just personal memories of the two of you. Do either of you have a moment that stands out of like a first time you raced each other, or maybe like the first time you saw the other person post a really fast time? Maybe I'll start with you, Sophie.
For sure. I mean, I think like the first time, um, at least like that I can remember, is when Alex was at Junior Worlds last year, and I'd been following along the whole thing because some of my teammates were there. So we were watching, and she had like the most incredible meet and just like the most insane time drops I think I've ever seen from anyone. And so that's like the first like big memory I have. Was like, wow, like this girl just dropped 6 seconds or whatever it was in her 200 breaststroke, and how like awesome that was. I mean, it kind of stressed me out a little bit, like I'm not gonna lie, but it's so good for like Canadian breaststroke, like going into an Olympic year. So I thought that was really cool and my first memory of Alex.
Yeah, that was Junior Worlds 2023. I also remember that meet vividly because I was like, "Who is this girl?" So Alex, same question to you. What were you eyeing about Sophie in the lead up to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think like Sophie had been like the breaststroker on the national team for a while, so I'd always like looked up to her and been like, wow, she's so fast. And then yeah, definitely just like I don't even know if I have something like super specific, but just like yeah, like it's always been fun to see what time Sophie posts and then be able to race her and everything.
Well, it's kind of, yeah, like a bit of a cat and mouse game. One of you may have been, Sophie, you said you'd been around for a couple years before you. And then that 2023 Junior Worlds, it's kind of like, okay, now we have other names to add to the mix. And then for you, Alex, to be the one that's kind of starting to chase. And you guys have gone back and forth for the last couple of years. To add some context, I mean, luckily going into this World Championships, you're going to get to swim different events, which is really fun. And one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you both on is I love to see the dynamic between teammates. I've chatted with Kylie a little bit about the dynamic in the backstroke ready room. So I wanted to ask you guys, because we are a show called The Ready Room, what are the vibes of the breaststroke ready room? Is it silly? Is it serious? Is it giggly? Maybe Alex, I'll start with you.
I think it's a good time always. Like at trials and even like Canadian Open and everything, like there's a pretty good group of us, and I feel like none of us. I definitely get a little serious before my races sometimes, but I think for the most part, I would say we have a good time chatting and whatnot.
And Sophie?
Yeah, I would say the same. I think it tends to be the same group of like 3 to 5 of us over the last few years, and so we've gotten to know each other pretty well. And yeah, kind of everyone has their like music on, but there's a lot of chatting and laughs, and so we have a really good time. Definitely not too serious, I would say.
We're going to move on a little to this kind of budding rivalry in a perfectly beautiful way. But we speak a lot about how iron sharpens iron and how people challenging you tends to bring out the best and kind of that new level. I watched you two go head to head, going into the Olympic year. It was one of my favorite stories to follow. And then leading into this year, of course, at trials, you were separated in multiple events by only fractions of a second. So maybe I'll start with you, Alex. I just wondered how the challenge that Sophie brings out the best in you.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that we have like a couple breaststrokers in Canada where we're all so close. I just think it's really motivating in a way that really pushes us to be the best.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the same thing. I think throughout Canada and the rest of the world often like emphasizes that we have like tended to be weaker in breaststroke over the last however 10 years. And so I think that's pretty motivating to all of us. And then to have all of us in like such close range with each other. Like I'm constantly like looking what Alex goes, looking what Shona goes, when like Sydney's swimming or Kelsey, kind of keeping tabs on everyone and just using that as motivation to push myself, because I train in a group where I don't have necessarily like a training partner day in and day out. I think it's really helpful to be able to like follow along what all of them are doing, just to keep pushing myself.
Setting that standard and continuing to push it. We can't wait to watch what you two continue to challenge each other toward. I do want to ask about Worlds because Singapore is right around the corner. I'm really looking forward to watching both of you race. I'm hoping that taper is quickly approaching for you both. Alex, you'll be swimming the 50 and the 100, and then we have Sophie in the 200 breaststroke. Maybe I'll start there with Sophie because you go into trials, you qualify for the 200 breaststroke. Tell me a bit about overall your trials experience and how you're looking ahead to swimming maybe a bit of a new event for you on the world stage.
Yeah, it's definitely trials was pretty up and down for me. I kind of switched up my training this year. I'm an older athlete. I wanted more time outside of the pool to do some other things. So I kind of switched things up in training in the pool a bit less, a bit more on land. So I was excited going into trials just to see how everything would come together. And I definitely had my sights set on trying to make that 200 cut. Now with Sydney and Kelsey not there, the event was a little bit more wide open. Obviously, amazing competition with Alex and Mary deciding to swim it this year, but I thought that one was definitely attainable, but was not necessarily the main focus going into trials. So was super happy with that swim. Gave me a lot of confidence. And then the rest of the meet, the 100 and the 50 didn't go exactly as I had hoped they would, and like what I necessarily had been training for, which was a little bit disappointing just because the last few years, like the 100 has been like, I don't know, like my baby, like my like focus event. So like unfortunate that it didn't come together, but I am pretty excited for Worlds just to have the 200 to focus on. The last few weeks I've been able to like really lock in on that versus having it be kind of a like second focus. And I feel like I've kind of had a breakthrough in how I've been swimming it. So I'm hoping that now that I've kind of figured it out, I can take another step forward at Worlds.
Yeah, I think that's actually such a great perspective because listening to, I always talk about this Canadian team right now is breaking barriers in so many different ways. People are just like, I constantly get asked, is there a ceiling on a Summer Macintosh or anything like that? And I was like, on paper, at some point we need to crack a ceiling, but it looks like she constantly blows us away. And then you have a Katie Ledecky who's going world record performances late into her 20s when distance freestyle used to be only known to be kind of like a young woman's sport. Then I watch you and you say these things like, oh, we're taking actually less volume and really working outside of the pool. And then your best performance at trials is in the longest race you do. So it really kind of is we don't actually know until we see it actually come to life. And then you have these examples of, I love that finishing thought where you said, I finally can really craft what I'm working on in this space and find a way to improve upon it and focus upon it going into Worlds. So yeah, that's really great to hear. And for Alex, I've spoken to your coach before, Mike Blondell, by the way, anyone who doesn't know. And he was saying, I think this was Olympic year where I asked him, but he was saying, yeah, she swims 100 breast, but we more train for like the 400 IM. So I'd love to know now that you're doing the 50 and the 100, do you get to do a little bit more sprint focused training or does he still have your yardage up nice and high?
Yeah, no, definitely a little more focus on the 50 and the 100. I think almost me and Sophie were kind of swapped. Like I was going into the trials probably with more of a focus on 200 breaststroke and then 100 as well. And yeah, definitely during the season I trained for 4IM. It's like my fourth event in U Sports. And I've always just like trained more IM and stuff. I wouldn't say I was like really focused in on breaststroke until a couple of years ago. So, but yeah, definitely now we're able to focus in a little more on some speed sprint for the 1500, which has been kind of fun.
And I would love to know just in general, goals. I know not everyone likes to speak specifically, and I'm totally okay with that. I never would. But I wondered just like what success would look like for you in Singapore. And I'll start with you, Alex.
Yeah. I think, there's all the thoughts in my mind. I think like trials for me this year in the 100 and the 50, that was the fastest I've been since Junior Worlds in 2023. And I felt really good about those performances. So I think for me, honestly, I just like to go out there and put up some fast swims and enjoy the experience. And we'll see where that takes us.
Well, we're looking forward to it. And Sophie, what about you? What does success look like for you in Singapore?
I mean, a big part of it, I think, is just like enjoying the experience. But I think now that it's like a bit of a new event for me, I feel like often I've gone into Worlds being like, okay, I want to make the semifinal, and it's been focused on like beating others around me versus kind of just like focusing on myself. So that's what I've been trying to do the last few weeks is like, okay, what do I need to do to get a second swim? And like, what do I need to do to like take that next step forward? How can we improve on the time from trials? And so, yeah, just kind of like success, I guess, would be putting those little details together and hopefully getting multiple swims in. And yeah, just enjoying doing something a little bit different. It's definitely a different type of stress for me. So just, learning how to manage that and be excited by it.
Okay, we're going to end, as we always do, with a no-cap segment. Because World Aquatics Championships aren't just swimming, my question today is if you had to compete in one of the other sports, what would it be and why? And just in case you don't know, the other sports are water polo, artistic swimming, diving, high diving, or open water. I'll start with you, Sophie.
Oh, I would absolutely do water polo.
Oh, you sound confident. Did you play that at all growing up?
I don't know. I think it's fun. I think like breaststroke kick, like I could be pretty good at it. I like that it's like pretty aggressive. Can like, I don't know, dunk people underwater, and I don't know. Some of the other ones I think you need a lot of like bravery for, and so yeah, I think I'd go with water polo for sure.
I think if it were to be like based on my abilities right now, I would also have to say water polo, but I think if I could like have the flexibility for it, I think diving would be pretty cool. But I definitely do not have those skills.
Do you think you have the bravery to do like the high dive, like over 20 meters high, or would you stick to the springboards or the 3-meter platform?
Yeah, springboards are 3 meter. I don't think I could do the high diving ever.
I know. I'm like in awe of the athletes that can take on those like cliff dives. It's unbelievable. Well, thank you both. We are going to be rooting for you in Singapore. I hope you have fun. Like I said, I think my key to this conversation really is you guys are both such great examples and leaders, whether you're a parent at home or a coach trying to talk to a swimmer about what's ahead. The kind of key themes is, neither of you specialized in your stroke too early on in your career. You've prioritized school throughout. You're both brilliant and have thought about kind of what you want to do next. And so your goals in the pool are really important, and it definitely is evident when I chat with you. So thank you for your time today, and best of luck in Singapore.
Thanks, Britt.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Bye, guys. Safe travels. Well, that's a great segue for me to give you a little bit of an overview picture of what to watch at the World Aquatics Championship, knowing there are way more sports than just swimming. I wanted to tease up what else you should be keeping an eye on for Singapore 2025. And it all starts with men's water polo. Team Canada will play Team USA on July 11th at 10:35 p.m. Eastern. That's going to get things started off really strong. And then open water begins July 14th. Canada's Emma Finland will be competing in the 10K. And then the men's 10 kilometer is the next day, and that will feature Eric Brown. Artistic swimming will have a range of disciplines from the 17th of July through the 25th of July. And I had a chance the other day to chat with Captain Kenzie Pradell, and it just seems to be such a special time for this team.
I'm always just trying to go out there and be as a team, swim as a team, but also really enjoy the moment. Like these girls on the team, they're your best friends. And when we qualified for the Olympics, that was something so special that I look back on now, and I just feel so happy and honored to be a part of. And the unity and like the togetherness that we have as a team, we've just carried that all the way through this year. We've had a couple members that have retired and we have new ones coming in, but we were able to really keep that cohesion and just build on something new. And it's so exciting to be able to swim together with them and just pass that on with everyone. It's the first year in the quad, so it's not as much pressure as the Olympic qualifying year or the Olympic year, but it's still like we want to take a good step and just see how far we can go in the next couple of years. So it was really important just learning from each other and taking it one step at a time.
Highdiving begins on July 23rd, and it will feature two-time world silver medalist Molly Carlson, who unfortunately in late June had a very scary slip at an event, and she's taken to her social media to say that she's taking literal baby steps to get ready for Worlds and has asked for advice on how to be brave when you've dealt with a challenge. So glad to see she has gotten back on her feet, and we know that Brave Gang will be behind her. Diving lines up pretty similar to the swimming schedule. The first final kicks off on Saturday, July 26th, and wraps up Sunday, August 3rd, the same as the final day of swimming. This will be a relatively young team competing, as the program is in a bit of a rebuild phase after Paris, and a few athletes have opted not to compete this season. CBC will have extensive coverage throughout, beginning on July 11th. The streams can be found on CBC Gem, and all the scheduling and additional information can be found on cbcsports.ca. Well, when it comes to swimming, you better believe here at the Ready Room, we're going to be all over it. I am happy to say that Devin Haru and I will be going live to YouTube every single day after finals. We expect that to be around 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Of course, swimming sessions are a little fluctuating here and there. That starts on July 27th and goes through August 3rd. Like I said, we're going to break down key storylines. We're going to tell you about all the crazy successes of Summer Macintosh, international things you need to know about, and of course, look ahead to the next day of the championship. So more to come here. Make sure you're tuning in on our YouTube page, and I cannot wait to get things started in Singapore. With that, we'll see you next week.